Well, hey, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. My name is John Campea, and this is, as you can see behind me, Open Mic, the show here on the channel where we talk about whatever it is you guys want to talk about. You are the program directors. So if you've got a question that you'd like us to address here on the show, you can send it in to us one of two ways. The first way is you can send it to us anytime, 24 hours a day by going to our tip link at streamelements.com/JohnCampea/tip. Again, if it's 3 a.m, you can go there and submit your question and we'll use it here on the show if we deem it to be appropriate for our show. Or the second way, if you're watching the show live as we're actually streaming, you can use the super chat feature to send it in there. And the super chats are currently now open. We will shut them down at some point, but they are open for now. And it's good to have you guys here joining us today as we talk about stuff here on the show that you want to talk about. Now, before we go into all the stuff that you guys have fired in here today for us to discuss, there's one thing I want to talk about, and that is Fast X going into its second weekend. Now, we've talked on the channel a couple of times today. We did a standalone video about the Fast X opening weekend box office and then we discussed a little bit more on the actual podcast. But I wanted to touch on it just a little bit more here with the context of what it's facing in weekend number 2. Now, Fast X had a solid international opening at $257 million. That's a good number. That is solid. However, its North American box office was not so good. It was $67 million. And while a lot of filmmakers would kill to have a movie that opened to $67 million, the reality is at $67 million, it is the second lowest. No, sorry, scratch that. It is the lowest opening weekend for a Fast and the Furious movie since 2006 with Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift. And it's only declining. Now, the big question about how well Fast and Furious may or may not do going into its second weekend also has a lot to do with its legs. Yes, and I don't think it's going to have great legs, but it's also about what's its competition. And this weekend, Little Mermaid is opening up. Now, you may be somebody who's really excited about the Little Mermaid movie. Maybe you're somebody like me, who I am not a Little Mermaid person, original or otherwise. But the projections on Little Mermaid are really, really quite big. Deadline actually wrote that the projections for the opening weekend are $110 million, which is almost twice. Not quite twice, but getting close to twice as much as what Fast X made. And with it making that much money, if it does make like $110 million this weekend, that's $110 million that isn't going to Fast X. So I'm actually guessing that we're going to see Fast X take a greater than 60% drop this weekend, maybe even more. So we'll see. So we could be seeing Little Mermaid. And here's the funny thing. If you had asked me, even just domestically, a month ago, if I thought Little Mermaid could make more money at the box office than Fast X, I would have said no chance. No chance in hell could that possibly happen. But now it's going to happen. Little Mermaid is going to make, it's 100% guaranteed. Little Mermaid is going to make more money at the domestic box office than Fast X did. It's going to make almost twice as much in its opening weekend. Now, worldwide, Fast X may still take it, depending on how strong the international numbers stay. But I'm kind of guessing that the international numbers are going to drop as quickly, if not even quicker, than the domestic numbers did. Maybe yes, maybe no. I mean, look, this movie could end up making less than Fast 9. This movie could also maybe join the $1 billion club, talking about Fast X. So I'm not really 100% sure, but I do know that it's going to get knocked out pretty quick. And a few months ago, if you had asked me, do you think Fast X would still be number 1 at the box office in its second week when Little Mermaid opens, I would have said, yeah, I think there's a good chance of that. Now, there's zero chance of that. Absolutely zero chance of that at this point. But it's going to be interesting to see how that whole thing kind of winds in. All I know is that Little Mermaid's going to have a big opening weekend. I mean, bare minimum, I think Little Mermaid makes 90 million opening weekend. Minimum. I think that could go up as high as 115.
You got a couple other movies too.
What else is opening
and
up
The
this
Machine
weekend?
and About My Father. It takes away from the box office. They're not big.
You know what? About My Father, that's the one with Robert De Niro.
Yep.
That looks like it could be really funny. The Machine, I don't know if anybody's going to go see The Machine.
There's probably a small group of
Did
people
you like the trailers for The Machine? I didn't. I
I
found them
make fun of
boring.
it all the time. I don't know. I just don't know the comedian, but there's fans of this comedian. I know there are.
Oh yeah, no, they definitely are. Like does very, very well for himself. But
And we're talking about things that can affect Fast second week.
yes,
Those movies obviously will affect it.
there's
Not
going to be an
huge,
impact, right?
Not huge, but like Little Mermaid, but it'll affect it somewhat, somehow.
Well, we'll see what happens there. All right, guys, with all that down, let's get into the reason why we're all here, which is to take your questions. Let's start with the tip questions that you guys sent in who aren't watching the show live. So we'll start there. Jonathan, what do we got?
All right, first up, we've got Anonymous, who writes, how is the Star Wars hotel failing Kennedy's fault? That was greenlit when Iger was running Disney and Chapek parks. Also, shouldn't Mango take the blame for Indy 5's mixed reviews? The critical success or failure of the movie falls on the director.
Well, I mean, to start with the Star Wars hotel, I mean, that's not Kathleen Kennedy's fault. She has nothing to do with what Parks decides to do. Parks and Lucasfilm are two totally separate things. So while there is much responsibility that Kathleen Kennedy has to carry for the current state of the Star Wars universe, for sure, the failure of that ridiculous, idiotic hotel idea they had. What was it? $5,000
At
Yeah.
night.
Well, not a night, but I think it was
for a weekend for
for a
two
weekend,
nights.
2 nights.
$5,000. Are you effing kidding me? I mean, and it
That's
wasn't even that good
That's
from
for
other
one
reports.
person?
Yeah.
That's probably, I think, for one room.
It's like 25.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So that can't go on Kathleen Kennedy at all. All right. What's next?
All right, we've got, scroll over here. So we've got Full Boil, who writes, hi, John, I'm looking to buy my first tablet. Do you have any suggestions? I would like the screen to be in the 11 to 13 inch range. Other criteria that are important to me are overall performance, speed, HD, video quality, and reliability. Budget is $1,000. Thanks.
Okay. So here's the good news. All right. If you're not looking to do the real heavy lifting on your tablet, all right, like you're not going to do heavy video editing and you're not looking to do Photoshop type of work, and you're just looking to browse the web, play some games, stream video content, all the stuff that most people have tablets for, there are some great options out there. Now, at the bottom of the list, but still a good option, the Amazon Fire tablets are not ideal. I would very rarely make them my number one recommendation. But if you're on a budget, the Amazon Fire tablets, particularly, I mean, it's close to your 11-inch thing. I think I think the biggest one is a 10-inch. They might have upped the size of their biggest one, but you can get those for like around the $200 or $300 range, I think. I mean, they're crazy cheap. And if what your main goal is media consumption, you want to read stuff, you want to watch videos, you want to write emails, you want to browse the web, you want to do all the things that 99% of people use tablets for, that's actually not a bad little option. The next thing up is several of the Samsung tablets. Just look for the ones that are going to be in your size range. And that's the great thing about the tablets today, is like they are all plenty fast enough to do the things that 99% of the people would use their tablets for. So you can find some really good stuff in there for well under $1,000. After that, that's a great example one right there. After that, if you really do want to spend around $1,000 and you want a little bit more capability, like maybe you do want to do some good video editing and whatever on your tablet, then you're looking at an iPad. And I don't think you necessarily need the iPad Air or the iPad Pro. I think just the regular iPad right now is pretty freaking fast. Now I've got the what is it, the 12-inch, whatever. I have the bigger iPad Pro. I have the iPad Pro. Now I do a lot of ridiculous things on it, so that's besides the point. But even just a regular iPad today, if you want to do some video editing and stuff like that, there's a great piece of software on the iPad called LumaFusion, which is a wonderful video editor for tablet. You can record podcasts on it. You can basically use it that you would almost use anything for a laptop. So that would be a good thing to go. But again, the good news is there's a lot of really good options for you out there. All right. Hopefully you found that helpful. What's next?
All right. We've got Tristan Riera, who writes, Hi guys, looks like the first part of my comment got lost in the dark web. My thoughts on Zelda movie should be live action, and Link should have speech impairment, only use sign language like Echo, but better written, and Grunt, more representation.
I disagree, because I don't think Link in the games is supposed to have a speech impediment. I mean, it's actually implied in the games that he does communicate. And I think a movie is much different than a video game. No, if you want this thing to be successful, and I think you want it to be more compelling, I think you got to have him talking. And I get it. Look, a lot of the video game purists right now are screaming at me through their screens. Scream all you want. It's still the truth. I think the movie would work much better and probably be more successful, especially with the people who aren't gamers and haven't played the games, which is going to be the vast majority of the movie-going audience. I think it'll just work better if you have him speaking. And I agree. I think it should be live action.
But I still fight you on that. I still agree.
A lot of people do. A lot of
I'm
people
on
do.
his side about not talking so much. It's just the way I feel. You're probably right. It's just the way I feel. I just think it'll be.
But let me ask you a question. If you never played the game, let's say you never played the game, right? You never played it.
Right.
You're going into a movie where your lead character, do you want your lead character speaking or not? I'm just saying it, and that because that's where the majority of the movie-going audience is haven't played the game.
But can we say that at least the Mario Brothers, the turnout was a lot of the video game players who played the game? Won't you think it would work the same way with Link, where it's like, it's the majority of moviegoers?
Here's the question: how much does Mario speak in the video games?
Not too much.
Really?
Yeah.
So they shouldn't have had him speak in the movie?
Yeah.
Because he has a lot of dialogue in the movie.
That's a different character.
How is it different?
I'm just saying
He doesn't really talk in the video games.
Right.
And they had him talk fully in the movie.
I just with that.
Can I just say that I actually find it annoying that Link just always grunts in the more modern games.
Oh, okay.
Like I wouldn't have expected it in like the original Zelda, right? Legend of Zelda or whatever, because it's an 8-bit game. Maybe not even on like.
You know what's funny, Jonathan? When you have your head turned like that, the brow of your hat's covering your eyes, so your camera lost focus because they didn't see you because your eyes
lost
were
interest
covered.
too. It didn't just lose focus; it lost interest in me.
It also lost interest.
I just don't think he should talk much. That's all. That's
Me-
You're not
Link.
alone. A lot of people feel the same
Yeah.
way. A lot of people feel
We'll
the
see.
same way.
We'll see what direction they go in.
All right, what's
All right.
next?
All right. Wade writes, I've been worried about the promoting for MI7. It comes July 12th, and I only see the trailer on movie screens once. Is Paramount not confident in the film? I feel that as they've been advertising every film to come this summer except that. Thoughts?
Dude, I have seen their promotion everywhere. Like everywhere. It's all over online. I've seen billboards. I've seen the trailer play many times in theaters. I mean, it just might be the weird luck of the draw that the screenings you're at, the theaters, maybe they just haven't shown those trailers much. I have seen a lot of marketing for Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning 1. They have all the confidence in the world in this movie. Believe me.
Yeah, and they're concentrating on Transformers right now.
Yeah, that's the primary focus that they've got right now is Transformers, because that's what's coming up more.
June 16th, I think.
Yeah, when is Dead Reckoning supposed to come out?
He just said July, or should we take his
It says,
word? Or
well, it says July 12th, but I
But
don't
yeah,
know.
I mean, I can't speak for your experience. I can only speak for mine. And my experience has been I've seen a lot of marketing for it personally. All right, what's next?
Okay, we got Jaden Voss who writes, coming out of Fast X was the second time I've gone out of the theater angrily mixed. The first one was Jurassic World Dominion. I felt that Jurassic World was decent, but also disappointing at the same time. Fast X was quality wise, and JW was story wise for me.
Quality wise, he didn't like it.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, I said it before, I'll say it again. This movie felt like it was made by a 4-year-old. If you take every way you can possibly try to make your movie as bad as possible, Fast X does it. Garbage dialogue, terrible, stupid story, unbelievably black hole sized plot holes, all this kind of stuff. Like, I just cannot believe the degree of incompetence that went into making that movie on many levels. However, much like its box office performance, where domestic and international were two different stories, I kind of feel the same way about the entertainment value of Fast X. So garbage on so many levels, but they do a couple of things very well. Fight scenes, car scenes, Jason Momoa. And there's so much of those things in the movie that it almost salvages the movie experience for me in it. Like I came out of it saying, yeah, it's terrible in many ways, but I do not regret watching it because there was enjoyment to be had in there. And I can totally see why people who valued those aspects a little bit higher probably came out of theater going, I had a good time. And I'm like, great, so it's one of those things.
And I have a pretty good feeling, whatever the next one is, they're going to get serious about it. If all these reviews keep coming out like this and the money's not coming in, sometimes it takes reality to smack you in the face for you to get serious again about it. They've had 11 movies, I think, right? How many movies are there?
Well,
10?
I mean, in the Fast and the Furious franchise proper, it's now 10. If you include Hobbs and Shaw, which is a spinoff, then there's 11.
I saw a little bit. I finally saw Hobbs and Shaw last night, a little bit of it, the back end of it.
I liked Hobbs and Shaw.
It was okay.
Did they count Tokyo Drift as like part 2? Because I thought at first they weren't, because it was then Too Fast, Too Furious. But then I felt like when they got to 3, they named that 4, and I got confused.
Oh.
No. They didn't call Tokyo Drift 4. It's just Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift is the name of the movie.
But it's not part of the main lineage.
They counted, because Vin Diesel shows up at the end of
gotcha.
it.
Yeah.
So they do count it as part of the Fast and Furious proper. That's where Han gets introduced and all that kind of stuff.
Gotcha.
All right, what's next?
Oh my gosh, Ray Aura is a Skrull?
What?
Oh no. All right, Flash's series finale is this Wednesday. Have you seen any of the final season? It hasn't been very good, but it's
High praise. Praise.
but it hasn't
I'll go
been,
check it out later.
but it hasn't been very good, but it's highlighted by 2 great episodes I recommend. Episode 9, Stephen Amell's Return, and episode 10, Barry is forced to go back to the day his mom died.
Did they do that like 7 times in this show?
Yeah, but it's really good. Oh.
I mean, hasn't Barry gone back to his, his childhood thing? I think they've done that like many times in the series, but I did not watch any of last season, and I don't plan on watching any of this season. Listen, at the end of the day, 5 years from now, as we look back and we say, hey, the Flash show on CW, I will say, I really liked that show. And I did. For the vast majority of its run, I really enjoyed Flash. I thought it was a really fun, entertaining, not the greatest, but a really fun show that I enjoyed watching. It is long past its expiration date. This is a show that they should have wrapped up 3 years ago. And I'll just remember it as such. So I honestly have no desire to watch anything on this season. And I prefer to just keep it in my mind the way it is. I enjoyed the show for many years. It was great. Even when it wasn't so great, it was still fun to watch. But yeah, I just, it's not for me anymore.
That viewer seems very loyal to the show.
Which is great.
I hope they do him right. And then just at least have a good finale, something like that for anyone who's kept up with the show. I mean, if you follow a show for a really long time and you get left with a bad taste in your mouth, that would be upsetting a little bit.
All right, what's next?
All right. We've got Connor Floud, who echoes someone else's sentiments. Wow, Fast X movie was just as bad and disappointing as Jurassic World Dominion.
You know what?
Crossover.
A little off topic. I didn't hate Jurassic World Dominion.
I didn't hate it either.
I mean, it was the least good of the Jurassic World installments, but I didn't hate it. It had some good stuff in there. Mm-hmm. I mean,
some stuff.
I liked it more than Fast X. Not by a lot, not by much, but I liked it more than Fast X. All right, what's next?
All right, we got Inalo, who writes, hey, John, I just watched 4 movies this past Sunday, the classic Little Mermaid, Rambo First Blood Part 2, Contact, and Fast X. Which one do you like the best and why? Personally, I think Contact is the better film, but I had more fun with Fast X. Thanks.
Out of all 4 of those?
First, I thought you were just saying Rambo First Blood, because Rambo First Blood, I would have said that, but you're saying Part 2.
Part 2, yeah.
What was the other ones on the list?
So, yeah, Rambo
original
First
Little
Blood,
Mermaid.
original Little Mermaid, Fast X, and I think
Out
Contact
of those, I'll have to say Contact.
I like Contact.
was the best. Yeah, I mean, as far as...
Yeah, Contact is thinking man's sci-fi.
Yeah.
I mean, Contact, because it does what great art will do. It makes us ask deep questions too about ourselves, our humanity, and all that kind of stuff. And it's just a really cool story all wrapped into one. If you haven't seen, Matthew McConaughey's in that. Foster is obviously Jodie Foster's the lead of it. It's a terrific movie. But again, it's thinking man sci-fi, but it's really, really great. I'd say that one. All right, what's next?
Logan Roy writes, well, there's a part 1. So a couple of months ago, I started Succession, but dropped it around season 1, episode 5. Just wasn't my thing. Recently picked it up again because I had nothing to watch, and finally around season 1 finale, it finally clicked. Almost at season 4, but absolutely love the show. But yeah, this show is bonkers and hilarious. The only thing that is that sometimes I get lost in the small business details, but overall the plot still makes sense. Not a critique of the show, though. I appreciate the show not treating the audience like kids.
I'll tell you what, I did not love Succession the first couple of episodes. I am like you. I kind of gave up on it. I watched a couple episodes and like, eh. And then everybody kept raving about that. Oh, I'll give it another chance. And then you're right. It really picked up around episode 3, episode 4, episode 5. And that's when it really started to click. The characters are great. The conflict is wonderful. It doesn't feel forced. It feels like, yeah, this is how some family relationships would be. And Brian Cox as Logan Roy, my God. He did win at least one Emmy for it. I don't know if he won multiples or not, but man, show is so good. I'm not all caught up. I am 4 episodes behind, but I'm loving this show.
That's a battle that I've never won in my life. That's why I think it's one of the hardest things to convince someone who gave a show a shot to just keep giving it more of a shot.
Yeah.
Because they'll get to a point where it gets really good. I've never won that battle with anybody. Like I said, just get up to this episode. They never, ever. People just completely quit if they don't get it from the start.
And I get that because, listen, you gave some, first of all, it takes a lot to get you to say, okay, I'll give that show a try. And then if you give it a try, you know the old saying, you never get a second chance to make a first impression.
Right.
If it doesn't work for you, there's so many other things to watch.
Yeah.
I find it's a lot easier for me to give a show another shot if all I gave it was like 1 or 2 episodes. But there are shows like Rick and Morty for me that I gave it, or My Hero Academia, that I gave the entire first season. Right? I gave both of those shows the entire first season. I'm just like, for different reasons, for both of them, I'm like, nah, this isn't for me. So, but the ones I only tried 1 or 2 episodes, like when Legion first came out, I ditched it after the first 1 or 2 episodes. And then I think it was John Schnepp said, John, believe me, it gets better. It'll hook you. You got to keep going. So I went back to it, loved it. But if I had watched the whole first season and didn't like it, I don't think you could ever get me back.
True.
All right, what's next?
Anonymous writes, my 10-year-old sister wanted to watch Guardians 3, so we did Guardians Marathon. But now we're doing an MCU Marathon. This will be my 3rd.
Wow.
First with my brother, then second with my dad, 3rd with my sister.
And
It's a
listen,
lot of MCU.
Doing a Guardians of the Galaxy marathon, that's a weekend, or at least one full day of your weekend. And MCU, they're now up to 30 movies.
Yeah,
That's 30 movies.
that's blown past Lord of the Rings Extended Edition.
Yeah, you are now committing a week of not going to work, school,
Yeah.
or bathing.
I'm going to need an hourly pay to watch all that.
It's just, I mean, that's commitment, man. That is commitment. All right, what's next?
All right, we've got, I don't know if it's AI or Al. In light of new upcoming tech like it's AI, like Chat GPT, I can't wait for the upcoming The Creator. This movie premise is always so interesting. Some could say it sounds like another Terminator movie, but I'm still super excited.
I don't think it looks much like a Terminator movie, to be honest with you. The first peek we got at it was at CinemaCon. They showed us this preview for it at CinemaCon, and all of us were like, half of us didn't even remember that it was coming. I had only heard slightly a little bit about it. I totally forgot it was coming out myself. And everybody in our group, there was, me, you, Ray, Rob, Ann, Chris Carr, all kind of looked at each other and were like, the same reactions, like, this looks really good.
Was
and
that Disney?
isn't going to make any money.
Was that Disney? It was Disney, right?
No, I don't think the creator is Disney. I don't think
It
Disney.
wasn't?
I don't think so. I mean, I could be wrong. But we all said the same thing. This looks like it's going to be really good. And it also looks like it's not going to make any money. Because it's just one of those, it's got an original Blade Runner almost kind of feel to it, which doesn't appeal to a lot of people. I mean, it can be brilliant, and I hope it is. John David Washington is like dying for a really good lead vehicle like this. So I don't know. We'll see how it turns out. And by the way, people in the live chat are saying it's 20th Century Studios, which means, 20th Century is owned by Disney. So there you go.
Oh, yeah. So it was shown.
It is
during
not
the
a Disney film, but it is a 20th
It was
Century
shown
film.
during the Disney. That's
Right.
probably why it's associated. Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Michael Kurtz is here, who writes, there are reports that they reshot the ending of Loki to make it make sense with another actor as Kang. How do you think they could do this, and would that work for you?
First of all, don't believe the report.
Yeah, I mean-
I don't believe that report. I mean, look, I'm not sitting here. I do not have a hotline. Kevin Feige didn't call me to tell me that. I'm just saying. So it could possibly be true. It's possible, I guess. They could come out and say Danny DeVito's the new Kang, and that's possibly true, I guess, possibly. But I wouldn't believe that report at all.
But if it were true,
If it were true, I would get it.
oh, okay.
I would understand it. Look, so many people, when they say, what happened to innocent until proven guilty? This has nothing to do with that. This has absolutely nothing to do with that. If you are in a business relationship and having a person in your project could possibly really hurt your project, you're going to separate yourself from that person. You're not proclaiming that that person is guilty. You're not proclaiming that you don't believe that person. Like I've said this before, and I'll continue to say it. If you are Disney, you can't let somebody else's drama become your drama. Now, I'm not saying they should replace Jonathan Majors. Not at all. Don't misinterpret me. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is that if they did decide to replace Jonathan Majors, even before the trial happens and all that kind of stuff, I would understand. Because Jonathan Majors' drama is going to hurt your project. Right? It's going to hurt their project. If you're Disney, there is a good solid possibility that Jonathan Majors' drama here is going to be a distraction. It's going to make your marketing of the film very difficult, marketing of your project very difficult, and your upcoming films. It's going to be a challenge. And so you go, you know what? It is better for our project if we replace that actor. Because again, it's not Disney saying we think Jonathan Majors is guilty. Not at all. It's just going, hey, we've got too much money on the line. Your drama cannot become our drama. And we hope the best for you. We hope you get this cleared up and that you can move on. But until you get your drama cleaned up, we can't do it. Again, I'm not saying that's what they should do. I'm just saying why I would get it if they decided to do it. All right, what's next?
Okay, we've got Ohm who writes, I met y'all in Vegas in the taxi line at Caesars. Y'all were wonderful. Been a fan since early AMC days. Wanted to get your thoughts on Google's Starline. First thing I thought about was how it could affect the movie industry down the road. James Cameron.
Well, first of all, I can tell you're lying because the John Campea crew only travels via stretch limo all the time.
Helicopter. Come on.
Everywhere. We just went to lunch, stretch limo.
And stretched.
Super stretch.
Yeah, kind of looked like a
Stretching this
Tesla,
lie.
As a matter of fact, Ray was in the hot tub in the
Yeah.
back of the super stretch
tub. No
on
one
our
got
way to
in.
lunch.
No one
Taxi
got in.
line.
Inviting everybody. No one got
Taxi
in.
line. What are you talking about? No, it's true. We took the taxis around. I don't know what Google Starline is.
We
I
can
don't
go on
either.
to the next one and then I'll look it up.
I
and
wonder
then
if
we
it's like a AI kind of
It
thing. I
sounds
don't
like
know.
a train.
I mean, it does. It sounds
sounds like a speed train
It
to
sounds like a
Vegas.
train that takes you around to actors' houses. That's what it sounds like, the Starline. Okay, what's next?
Razor writes, just finished watching The Offer on Paramount Plus.
So good.
About the making of The Godfather and loved it. Curious what some of your and the crew's favorite shows, movies about the movie business are.
I mean, some of the great things about the movie business, Wag the Dog was fantastic. One of my favorites is actually America's Sweethearts with John, I almost said John Malkovich. The star of Hot Tub Time Machine.
Yeah.
John
Cusack.
Cusack.
With John Cusack and
Billy Crystal, Julia Roberts.
and Julia Roberts.
Catherine Zeta-Jones.
I love that movie. If you guys haven't seen America's Sweethearts and you really want a good sense of what the junket lifestyle is for movie junkets, that's a good thing to watch. And there's one with Tim Roth from Shawshank Redemption. What's that? Where he's the Hollywood. Why am I freezing on the name of that movie? That one's really good too. But The Offer is so good. It should have won a lot of Emmys. That movie was that show is so good. Anne hadn't even seen Godfather Part 2. Oh, The Player. Thank you guys in the live chat.
The Player.
With
I
Tim
meant
Robbins.
Player.
I said Tim Roth. Tim Robbins. Tim Roth was in
right.
the Hulk movie. The Offer is, if you have never seen The Offer, even if you've never watched The Godfather, watch The Offer. It is so freaking good. There's Keeley from Ted Lasso as well. All right.
Let's go back to this. This sounds very interesting. Project Starline is an experimental video communication method currently in development by Google that allows the user to see a 3D model of the person they're communicating with.
Oh, so it sounds a little bit like what Facebook Metaverse was trying to do. All I know is this. Since 2015, I've had people telling me every month, oh, VR is the new big thing. VR is everything. VR is everything. Even my old boss at Complex was like really obsessed with VR. It's like VR is everything. VR, everything's gonna be VR in the next 12 months. And here we are 8 months later. I'll believe it when it happens.
The difference is this is not an avatar like a created. This is you, but I could see at the side of your head. It's like a 3D model of you, like you're in the same room. Like it is.
There's an example.
I mean,
it's just that I've seen so many gimmicks over the past decade of saying this is going to be the thing and this is going to be the thing. It's like, you know what? If I want that, I'll use Zoom.
Just go see the real person.
Or I'll just use Skype, or Zoom, or FaceTime, or
just adding depth to whatever the video. Guess. You know, hey, let me see like that earring you got on. Oh, right here. Boom.
But can't you do that in Zoom? Just turn on FaceTime. See, let me take a look. Google Hangouts does that, for heaven's sake.
But this is in 3D.
3D,
but
baby.
It's in 3D.
You just never like 3D. That's the problem. You hate 3D even when it's real people.
What's next?
Anonymous writes, the one point that keeps me from agreeing with the WGA is the one where they want a minimum of 4 writers for a TV series. Honestly, there are so many great miniseries that comes from the mind of a single person, Broadchurch or Heartstopper, e.g.
Right. There are problems on both sides. So for the writers, like the problem is that the studios abuse not having minimums by really overworking and putting unrealistic deadlines on too small a group of writers. That's why the writers are saying, listen, we need more time. You want 12 episodes of something and they're constantly being changed as a show progresses and all this kind of stuff. Then the deadlines and the amount of work that needs to be done is unreal. Listen, you've heard stories where it took some screenwriter 3 years to write their screenplay for one movie. One movie. That's the equivalent of like 2 episodes of an HBO series. And it took them years to do it. Some write much faster than that. But the point is here that there are writers and teams of writers that have been very, very much abused by studio systems of having way too much work and really, really tight deadlines and refuse to spend the money to have enough writers in the room to get it done adequately and on time. That being said, there is a part of this whole WGA versus the producers thing where there's a point that the producers make that I actually am a little bit sympathetic to, which is they will tell you that the WGA's list of demands reflect a fundamental refusal to acknowledge that the new model of television, which is primarily really streaming, is fundamentally different than what the old model of network television was. And in some of the proposals I've seen the WGA make, I in general am on the WGA side. Don't get me wrong, but the producers do have a point that in some of the proposals and demands that the WGA makes I agree with them. There's a fundamental misunderstanding or acknowledging that the process of making shows for streaming now is a little bit different and they have to go by different things. So again, everybody feels safer if they just pick a good guy and a bad guy. The reality is I think both sides need to do a little bit of compromising. I think the producers need to do more compromising, but there is a little bit of a shade of gray in there somewhere. All right.
Also, I just want to, this is our last of the tips, but also it's kind of misunderstanding the situation because when you're saying, there's a lot of series that are written by one person, that's right, but they're talking about staff writers, and they're not saying that it takes like 4 people to write a good idea or a good premise for a story. There could still be a lead writer who created it, But then we're talking about staff writers. That's the only other like.
If you watch a lot of things, there's a good documentary that somebody I know made called Showrunner. Go look it up. It's a really good documentary. But for most, if not practically 9 out of every 10 of the greatest TV shows ever made, if you watch some documentaries about how that show got made, you will see writers' rooms with like 12 people in it. And that's how they came up with the best television in the world and how they were able to keep up with episode after episode after episode and after episode after episode after episode of everything going. And so listen, you can once in a while have one person just write a show. It can happen, but that is not the norm. The general formula for success that has come with television is a healthy staff of writers and a full writer's room. But again, that doesn't mean it's a rule though. All right, guys. Hey, listen, we're going to now move on to take your live questions that those of you who are watching the show live are sending in via the super chats. Now, before we get to those, we're going to take just a quick break here and thank a couple of the sponsors of this episode, our friends at Helix and my mobile service provider, Mint Mobile. This video is sponsored by Helix Sleep. Their Memorial Day sale is running now, and it's a great time to upgrade your mattress. You can get 25% off your purchase for a limited time. Check out the Helix site for more details. Guys, Helix Sleep offers the best premium mattresses, custom fit to your needs, conveniently shipped right to your door. And in case you're not 100% sure which mattress is best for you, Helix Sleep's quiz matches you to the perfect mattress based on your body type and sleep preferences. Guys, you know Ann and I have had our Helix mattress for almost a year, and even when we go to Las Vegas and stay in these beautiful hotel rooms, we can't wait to get home to get a great night's sleep in our Helix mattress. The mattress comes rolled up in a box and is easy to set up, and there's even a 100-night sleep trial to test the mattress out to ensure that you love it. And good news, Helix is having a great Memorial Day sale that goes from May 15th to June 4th. Visit helixsleep.com/Campea to get 25% off your Helix mattress plus 2 free pillows during their Memorial Day sale, running now for a limited time. We want to thank a sponsor of this video, Mint Mobile. From the gas pump to the grocery store, your utility bills and favorite streaming services, inflation is everywhere. Seriously, make it stop. Thankfully, there's one company out there that's giving you a much needed break. It's Mint Mobile. As the first company to sell premium wireless service online only, Mint Mobile lets you order from home and save a ton with phone plans starting at just $15 a month. You guys know that ever since I switched to Mint Mobile, I've been saving almost 70% a month over my old phone plan. For people looking for extra savings this year, Mint Mobile offers premium wireless for just $15 a month. By going online only and eliminating the traditional cost of retail, Mint Mobile passes the significant savings on to you. All of their plans come with unlimited talk and text plus high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and keep your same phone number along with all your existing contacts. Switch to Mint Mobile and get premium wireless service starting at just $15 a month. To get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month and get the plan shipped to your door for free, go to mintmobile.com/Campea. That's mintmobile.com/Campea. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/Campea. And thank you to our friends at Helix and my mobile service provider, Mint Mobile, for sponsoring this episode. Remember, guys, when you support our sponsors and go and check them out, you're actually supporting us. If you go down to the description of this video, you'll find links and promo codes to both of today's sponsors. And again, thank you to Mint Mobile and Helix. All right. With that down, let's get over to your live questions you guys have been sending in. Jonathan, what we got up here?
Okay, we got Ojas Godre who writes, are you looking forward to the weekend?
Oh, what about Brovina Films?
This was... Oh, yeah, sorry, there we go. Brovina Films, thoughts on the passing of Ray Stevenson?
We spoke about it on the John Campea Show podcast today. Again, go check it out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts from. We spoke about that today. I'm heartbroken over it as a fan. The guy was just having the next resurgence of his career again. He's already had a fabulous career. Again, he was my favorite Punisher. All due respect to John Bernthal, who I love in the role, but Ray Stevens in Warzone was my favorite Punisher. I'm so excited to see him in Ahsoka. Really, it just kind of torn up about it.
He had some presence to him, man.
He had so much presence to him.
I was so intimidated of him. Him and Ray Liotta, if I saw them in a movie, it didn't matter what they're playing. I was intimidated by those two guys for some reason.
And again, so good in Dexter. He was so good in Dexter. All right, which one? What's next?
Which Dexter?
All right, I'll ask now. Are you looking forward to the weekend's show, The Idol, coming out on HBO on June 4th? I'd been watching the trailers, and it looks pretty good.
Nope, no interest. Although, listen, Weekend is a good Canadian kid. So I should at least be, I'll tell you what, I'm going to wait to hear if it's really, really good or not. If I hear it's really, really good because he's a good Canadian kid, I'll give it a shot. Other than that, I'm not going to lie. I don't have a lot of interest in it.
You had tickets to like his show that got canceled, right? Did you ever do the makeup show?
No, we never did.
Oh.
No, never did.
All right.
All right, what's next?
We have Raymond Verada here who writes, congrats to Ming-Na Wen for her Walk of Fame star.
Honestly, I'm pretty sure I could get a Walk of Fame star. It's getting a Walk of Fame star is not hard.
Yeah, okay.
It's really not hard. But congratulations to Ming-Na Wen just for being fucking Ming-Na Wen and for being awesome. And if the Walk of Fame actually meant anything, let's say it was a big deal, she would deserve it. She's had a long career. She's been in geek stuff, socially relevant stuff. I mean, she's absolutely fabulous. I've had the chance, I sat beside her at like 4 different movie premieres. She is incredible. I love her. One of the only watchable things about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So yeah, even though it doesn't mean anything to get a star on the Walk of Fame, she deserves all the kudos just for being Ming-Na Wen. All right, what's next?
Next up, we've got Raymond Verada who writes, John Redcorn who writes, it was a dumb idea to release Transformers around Flash, Spider-Verse, and Indy. These films are after the same audience. They should have moved it to August.
Okay, but. Here's why it might work out for them really well. Follow me here. You ever notice whatever city you live in, if you're looking to buy a new car, and like, oh, I'm going to buy this Ford, and you're looking for where the Ford dealership is, you go down the street and there's like 8 car dealerships all beside each other. Why? Because they want to build around each other, because it's like, hey, if people are coming to look for a new car, this is where they're going to come. Like, we want to be where people are going to look at new cars. That's where we want to be. There's something to be said about, you know what? Fools like Campea. He loves this shit, man. That John Campea audience member, he loves this stuff. Let's just put a bunch of them all out at once. Because he's going to be he's going to be salivating. He's going to be going to the movies twice a week during that period. Let's get our movie in there too for him to also watch during that. There's again, I'm not saying it will definitely work as a strategy, but there's something to be said with, you know what, right now, like people get in modes, right? Like we get into, hey, I get into this mode. Like some people get into bowling and they go bowling for like a month and then never bowl again. They get into these modes. I go to the gym and they go to the gym every week for like 2 months and then stop. But we get into movie going mode too. And if you got a bunch of movies coming out close together and you get in that mode, it's like, hey, I'm going to the movies tonight. There's something to be said about that strategy of dropping a Transformers movie right in the middle of all those other movies that are the same demographic that you're going after. We'll see if it works or not.
And Transformers, to me, at least through my eyes, is different. There's nothing out that's like, has robots, huge robots. I mean, it's almost like if they dropped Pacific Rim with a Creed 4, like the next Pacific Rim with a Creed 4 and One Punch Man live action, you better believe I'm finding a way to watch all 3 and also that Pacific Rim. It'll work. It'll work for Transformers.
I hope it does. I really do. All right, what's next?
I mean, I'm not going to see it anyway, so it doesn't matter to me.
Yeah.
All right, James Argenta writes, just saw that the writers of Beetlejuice 2 are Alfred Goh and Miles Millar, who are the creators and showrunners of Smallville, and more recently, Wednesday.
Oh, that's interesting.
Maybe
I mean, it makes sense because, having history working with Tim Burton and stuff like that. That's interesting. I did not know that. Look, again, I'm not going to pretend that I'm super interested in Beetlejuice. I'm not somebody who remember, like, I liked the original Beetlejuice when I was a kid. Sure, just like everybody. But it's not one of those ones that I think about as one of the great classics, And I'm not super stoked for a Beetlejuice 2. I'm not going to pretend that I am, but I will definitely give it a shot. I mean, his Wednesday show ended up being really good, so we'll see what happens.
They're going to bring back that costume during that year, that Halloween. We're going to see Beetlejuice again.
Ann and I were at Universal Studios Hollywood yesterday. Went and had dinner with Soul, and then we went to Nintendo World and Harry Potter Land, all that kind of stuff. And one of their big costume people walking around the street was a Beetlejuice.
A guy
in
laugh
costume.
at him?
What's
I
that?
would've.
Oh yeah, I spit at him and no. But
Get
he was
outta
talking to some kids, right? And like we were walking by, it's like in a few months, that costume character is going to be one of the most
Yep.
popular ones here. So we'll see. All right, what's next?
Yeah, and you can see the Jenna Ortega link then too, because she's in both. My Comic Planet writes, "Hey John, have you made a final decision on attending San Diego Comic-Con this year? I'm hearing it could be an amazing event."
I have not made a final decision about going. Okay, so the first thing I have to do is I have to figure out if I'm going to do my panel this year, which every year up until last year, I decided not to do one last year. I've done my Masters of the Web panel at Comic-Con. They've already emailed me and asked me if I was going to do it this year. I haven't decided that. If I decide to do the panel, obviously I'm going to be there. If I decide not to do the panel, which, you know what? The decision might already be made for me. We might already be past the deadline of when I needed to let them know if I was going to do the panel or not. I'm not even sure. But anyway, if I decide not to do the panel, then I still have to decide if, Anna and I got to decide if we still just want to go. And you know what? After going like, I don't know, 14 years in a row, I'm okay taking a break. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I'm over Comic-Con. No. But it might not be bad for me to take a couple of years. Because you, me, and Ann, we went last year for the day. Remember that? You weren't happy? You didn't like it?
The Comic-Con is really a really cool thing to go to. It's just lately I find myself walking onto the floor where I want to have my time with every display just to check it out at all that stuff.
But it's so
and
packed.
it's just ruined by the shoulder to shoulder,
Packed,
always having to move away
do
from
hate
some
that.
guy. Or it's just one of those things where I just wish even if they did it virtually and I could go to each booth and look at stuff in peace, that would be great.
Okay, look. Here's the thing. I've been saying this for years because one of the most frustrating, there was about 5 years in a row where I didn't go into Hall H. I didn't go into, unless I was like moderating a panel or something, I didn't go into the floor because, first of all, Hall H is where all the biggest stuff happens, right? That's where they have the big panels. But only 3% of the people who go to Comic-Con can get into Hall H. Let's say Avengers was coming out, right? And they're doing a big Avengers panel this year. Well, everyone wants to go to Comic-Con because they got the Avengers panel. And like Steve Rogers is back and Tony Stark are back. Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans are all going to be on stage, blah, 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 right? Okay, they estimate about 200,000 people go to Comic-Con. Hall H can hold 6,000 people.
And didn't all the big studios skip out?
3%.
Oh, sorry, didn't mean to.
3%. 3%. So what's the motivation to go? Also, it's held in a convention center that is way fucking too small. Way too small. So that you're going to the floor and you're like walking like this, like frickin' Danny DeVito's Penguin everywhere you go. And good fucking luck if you want to get a hotel. You literally have to enter a lottery to see if you even get the right to pay $700 a night for a hotel. I have said for years, and listen, I say this as somebody who loves San Diego. I love that town. Ann and I go down there on weekends every couple of months just to hang out in the town because we love the town so much. But San Diego Comic-Con should not be in San Diego anymore. I have made this argument before, and no one has been able to give me good counter arguments. They need to move Comic-Con to Las Vegas for a couple of big reasons. Reason number one, they have 7 times the amount of hotel rooms. All right? I've gone to Las Vegas when CES was going on, which is like twice the size as Comic-Con, and you could still get a room in any hotel you want at regular $69 a night because they have so many hotels in Vegas. Good luck with getting a hotel room in San Diego. Also, the convention center in Las Vegas is literally 3 times the size of San Diego's convention center. Triple the size, which means you can have more panels and more presentations. Your exhibition floor can be double the size so people aren't walking around, like freaking Penguin again. Also, right across basically right in the core of Las Vegas, right there by all the hotels. You got T-Mobile Arena that can hold like 25,000 people. Have that, you make that your Hall H. So people who go to CinemaCon for these big panels and these big events that currently only 3% of the attendees can even get into, all of a sudden now you can get like quadruple the amount of people can get in and watch it. The one legitimate argument against moving it to Las Vegas is that it's considerably warmer in Las Vegas, particularly in the summer. It's hot. It is. It's hot weather. But guess what? You're inside 95% of the time. So, I guess it's just super, super overcrowded, very difficult to get around. You can't get into the panels you want to go to. It's ridiculously hard to get a hotel. It makes it so Comic-Con is not a must-do every year for me. You know what I mean? They need to move this thing.
You have a chance to win like $1 million with one spin. Just walking by the casino on your way to Comic-Con. You just need one quarter.
And here's the other thing.
Boom!
Real good odds there.
You can go look this up. This is factually true. The number one migration of prostitutes in America every year, this is true, I saw this on the news, is Comic-Con, because you got all these fucking nerds like me, who live in their mama's basements that have never touched a girl. They go,
gonna pay for that.
They're off on their own. They don't have mom and dad around, and they go ahead and call up prostitutes and stuff like that. In Vegas, they're already there. It's just more convenient.
When'd you become a man? Comic-Con
2024.
2024. The day my mama bought me more than a comic book. She got me the best night of my life.
Thank you, Mama.
Thank you.
All right. What's next?
Mr. Godzilla writes, something I recently thought of.
What happened?
After No Way Home, are the Guardians of the Galaxy the only ones who remember Spider-Man's identity, as they were not on Earth at the time of Doctor Strange's release of the spell?
I don't think it has anything to do with the Earth or the planet. I think it has to do in reality. It's like remember that spell was crossing realities. So I think it's anybody in this reality. So no, I don't think the Guardians of the Galaxy will remember Peter's identity. Not that I know that they ever did know Peter's identity.
Yeah, that galaxy is huge.
Yeah.
Come on.
All right, what's next?
All right, we've got My Comic Planet, who writes, I watched Spartacus again, and you're right, John. That first episode is bad.
Awful.
But recovers brilliantly. What elements make it one of the greats even for you?
Yeah, Spartacus, the first 2 to 3 episodes were some of the worst television I've ever seen. And I only stuck with the show because my friend, Erin Cummings, was in it. She plays Spartacus's wife. So of course I'm going to keep watching it. And I'm glad that I did, because it became a top 3 favorite show of mine of all time, right up there with Battlestar Galactica and Sons of Anarchy. By the way, I'm doing a rewatch of West Wing. That might have to make its way into my top 3 now. Anyway, one of the things I loved most about it was just the pure dialogue.
Oh, okay.
The dialogue in Spartacus is so... There's this scene. I can't remember the name of the actor, Jonathan, you might, but in The Last of Us, you know how the show starts with that TV taping of these 2 scientists talking to each other about, what can the cordyceps virus do?
Right.
He's Big Head in Silicon Valley.
No, the other guy.
Oh, the tall guy, the taller.
The one who's basically explaining why this thing, the virus, can wipe out the world.
He's a Scottish actor, I believe.
Yeah,
right?
anyway, he is one of the main guys in Spartacus. He's like the guy who runs the gladiatorium. He runs like the gladiator arena.
John Hanna.
What's his name?
John Hanna.
Yes, John Hanna. Anyway, he's one of the main guys in it. And there's this great example, and I don't know why, but this line, the way they speak and the dialogue in the show just always killed me. And he's negotiating something with a Roman official, and the Roman official makes like a really bad proposition to him. He goes, I shall consider your proposal, but first may I beseech you to kindly remove cock from ass and give it, like, it's just the way they talk is just some of the biggest. He was implying he was trying to screw him. He's trying to screw him in the deal. Please kindly remove cock from ass. And like, he's the dialogue in it's so great. great characters, great plot twists.
Definitely,
Someone
definitely unmarking the made for children box on.
Yeah.
today's show.
No, and it's filthy. I mean, it's borderline porn as
Someone
well.
used that in their yearbook as their senior quote.
Oh, but
Yeah, I don't think you can get away with it.
it's such a good show, man.
How
It's
much
such a good show.
Gladiator there is in Spartacus? Like I meant as in the
A lot.
fighting. Like
Yeah.
oh, okay. I
Yeah,
might
there's
have
a
to
lot
check that
of
out then.
gladiatorial
I thought it was like a dialogue,
stuff going on.
just
yeah.
all dialogue.
It's so fucking good though. The show
okay.
is so again, you got to get past the first couple of episodes. 'Cause the first couple of episodes, some of the worst you're ever going to see on
oh,
television.
okay. Well, now I'll never watch it now.
All right, what's next?
Try to win that.
All right, we've got Donaldo Martinez who writes, I just watched Casualties of War for the first time. It's a good movie, but man, it's a tough watch.
Which one is Casualties of War?
Let me look
With
that
Michael
up.
J. Fox and Sean Penn.
Oh
I
my
think I
God,
remember
that's
seeing
going
that.
back a long ways.
I think I saw that. Oh yeah, I did see this.
That's
I don't
like
remember
what,
it, though.
80? I want to say 86.
Is that based on the?
I'm
It
horrible with
was
movie dates.
Oh yeah, it is based on the Vietnam War.
1989.
That is tough.
89. So you know what? For me, only being 3 years off is not bad because
That
I'm
was a
terrible with
tough
movie
watch,
dates.
for sure.
That's oh my God. I remember I watched it once. I can't remember anything about it though.
I
That's
didn't like it
going
as
back
much
a
as
ways.
Platoon, but it's good.
No, Platoon, Thin Red Line, Full Metal Jacket. Like those are kind of the classic war ones of that era. But yeah, anyway. All right, what's next?
Okay. Let me scroll here. We've got My Comic Planet is back. I watched the new Michael J. Oh, that's interesting timing. I watched the new Michael J. Fox film. Still loved it. I learned that despite his illness, he still has a happy life and a ton of love around him.
You just watched that yourself
This
didn't you?
weekend, yeah.
What did you think about it?
I loved it. Yeah, it was great. It kind of goes into like the history of his career a little bit, but then starts to intertwine it with where you start to see, and you actually can see like in his acting, he'll say like, see how I'm kind of doing this with my hands, or I'm holding something, or I'm gripping. It's because I was trying to hide
The Shake.
yeah.
Yeah. All right, what's next? Good Canadian kid, by the way, Michael J. Fox.
James Welsh writes, will Killers of the Flower Moon financially flop? I hope not.
Look, it's one of those movies that's going to be brilliant and probably not make a ton of money. Because, listen, right or wrong, good or bad, a lot of people just go for some popcorn explosions to movies, right? You're not going to get that with Killers of the Flower Moon. So I honestly don't know how much money it's going to make. I have no doubt it's going to be brilliant. We're already hearing the reviews coming out of the Cannes Film Festival that it's awesome. And I have no doubt from the previews they showed us at CinemaCon. But I don't know that's going to make a lot of money. I hope it does. I hope quality wins. All right, what's next?
Okay, we've got Disgraceful Entertainment. I love Ray Stevenson as the Punisher, and also loved him in The Other Guys. I forgot he was in The Other Guys.
Who was he in The Other Guys?
I have to look that up. I'm sad that he passed away. Thoughts and prayers to his family.
I mean, yeah, again, whether you're looking at things like Rome, Dexter, Punisher is the thing I go back to a lot. He was in the MCU as Volstagg. He was just recently in that Scott Adkins movie, and I thought he was really good in that. He's got the upcoming Ahsoka. I mean, he was just one of those actors that he just classed the joint up, as Rob would say. He would just class the joint up whenever he showed up in a TV show or movie. I adored him. I really did adore him. All right.
Yeah,
what's next?
he was one of the like the officers or one of the like agents.
I have no recollection of him being in that movie.
I
That
didn't
is so
either.
crazy. All right, what's next?
We've got Samir. Let me just hear. No spoilers. I thought Fast X was was stupid, but at least we finally see a freaking gas station in one of these dang movies. Keep up the good work, guys.
Finally, we see a gas station. Yeah, look, I think most people who even really like this movie will tell you, oh yeah, it's stupid. Oh my God, it's stupid. Like, it's really stupid. It's a stupid, dumb boy, stupid boy movie. It's really bad. But the stuff it does well, it does really well. And Momoa is awesome. Oshante. All right, what's next?
All right. CJ Rebirth writes, have you guys ever seen The Land Before Time? Yep.
Oh yeah. Well, wait, parts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, or 14.
Yeah.
Skip 13. It's a bad
I
first one.
remember the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
All right. Neil Before Zimmer writes, what would it look like if the studios win the writer's strike? Would broke writers start scabbing and putting pressure on the WGA?
No, I mean, that's not what the studios would consider a win either. They just look, everybody, okay, both the studios and the writers, they all want a clear set of structures, policies, and guidelines in place so everybody knows what to expect from and demand from the other, right? Everybody wants that. The studios want that. The writers want that. But the specifics of what those policies are and what maybe some of the guaranteed compensation is within those policies and structures that everybody wants is a lot of disagreement. What does a win look like for the studios? Well, on one hand, a win looks like the same thing it would look like for the writers, just getting the strike over with. That's a win for everybody. But the studios right now, while they are not very clear on the specifics of what they want, they're certainly not being as specific and clear as the writers are. They're just saying, no, we don't like a number of the writers' propositions. They don't want to have writer room minimums. They don't want to have minimum contract time. Like right now, the writers are saying, hey, when you hire a writer, you have to hire them on for a minimum period of time. And studios are like, that's not the way TV works anymore. Like sometimes you just need a writer for 3 or 4 weeks. And we don't want to be required to pay them for 12 weeks if we only need them for 3 weeks. Like, so to them, that's what it would look like, is getting the right policies for them that they feel. And again, I'm only speaking from their point of view on this, but what they feel is something that positions them for success moving forward. So that's what a win would look like for them. All right, what's next?
All right, we've got King Daddy Goat who writes, thoughts on Lakers game tonight? Can we come back?
Oh, come back? No. Well, I mean, okay, let me rephrase.
They'd have to win the next 4, right?
Is a LeBron James, Anthony Davis-led team capable of winning 4 games in a row?
Yeah.
Sure they are.
You just have to hit that stride.
The problem is they're playing the best team in the league with probably the best player on the planet right now in Jokic, the 2-time back-to-back MVP winner, except for this year, but he's 2-time back-to-back MVP. Probably should have won this year too. They are just a dominant team. And once they get by the Lakers, I think they're going to totally fucking choke slam either Boston or, as it turns out, looks like it's going to be Miami. They're going to just destroy either one of those teams. Maybe not a sweep. I think right now, the Lakers, who made it to the Final Four, Lakers made it to the Final Four. 3 months ago, they were in 11th place in the West and not even in the playoffs. And here they are in the Final Four. Right now, everything is just gravy for them. A win for the Lakers right now is just don't get swept. If they can just win tonight, then they can look back and say, hey, we started 2-10. We were in 11th place in the West. We rebuilt our team like 12 weeks before the end of the season. We totally rebuilt our team. And we got into the playoffs. We won the play-in. We beat the number 2 seed Memphis Grizzlies in round 1. We then defeated the defending NBA champions Golden State Warriors with Seth Thompson and Seth Curry and Klay Thompson, the Splash Brothers, two of the 2 best shooters in the league. And we defeated them, wiped them out, and then we got into the Final Four and we played the number 1 team in the league, the Denver Nuggets, and we got beat. You know what? I think if you're a Laker fan, you got to consider this a hell of a playoff run, even if they get swept tonight. All right, what's next?
Okay, we've got Jaden Voss who writes, Ray, coming out of CinemaCon, were you more excited for Oppenheimer or you felt the same?
As time gets closer to it, it doesn't matter if I see marketing material or nothing. I'm a Christopher Nolan fan. I've liked everything that he's put out, or from what I remember. The only thing I haven't seen, which is crazy, is Inception, and everyone seems to like that
That's
movie.
one of my favorites.
But I loved Dunkirk, Interstellar, even Batman Begins is in my top, I think, 3 comic book movies. I don't know. It's just I love his work, so I'm excited for this one. Obviously, it has to do with a real world event, and I do want to see his take on it. So, yeah.
All right, what's next?
All right, we've got Green Tea Drinker. Hi, John. I'm glad that you're stepping back to improve your work-life balance. I used to have a job that was running me to the ground where it felt like that was all I had. Call me a campy apologist, but I fully support you.
Yeah, listen, look, at the end of the day, the big changes that have happened around the John Campea YouTube channel is that, okay, so the main John Campea Show, we've totally shifted focus of it, and we no longer have it as a live video show. It's now a podcast, right? That one change has saved us. I'm going to tell you right now, it saved my life, right? The amount of energy, like people think, I think a lot of people think I'm joking or using hyperbole when I say I work 12, 13, 14 hours a day. And I think a lot of people think I must be joking because that's insane. Ask my wife, I'm not joking. That to get a live 2-hour show prepped and ready, that's got to be done and ready and out the door and have the notes out by 7:30 a.m. so other people in the team can bust their asses and get everything done. And then the stress of having to have all that ready to go at 10 a.m., ready to go and fly, and then pull off that live show. Listen, it was great. I loved it. But it was also extremely time intensive. And as more time went on and YouTube deprioritized live and YouTube deprioritized long, we just started to realize, look, the payoff we're getting for doing this show as a live video show is not worth it anymore. And we still want to talk movies and talk about it, but it takes 3 times less time and effort to pull it all together as an audio-only podcast, a pre-recorded audio-only podcast. And it just made life for us a hell of a lot easier. And the amount of people who've made the switch and jumped over to our podcast feed has been overwhelming. We've never been on the Spotify charts before. And as of this morning, the John Campea Show podcast is number 6. Number 6, only 2 spots behind the official HBO Succession podcast.
Succession ain't that good.
So
just give it up, man. Give up that spot.
Yeah. So, I mean, it has saved us a lot of time. I'm now working a very reasonable 7 to 8 hours a day now. The guys are working a very reasonable 7 hours a day now. It's just, and it's a lot less stressful. And that's really the only major change. We still do individual videos, but they're not segments anymore because we used to segment out the videos from the live show. Now we just pick a couple of very big key stories and we do individual videos, but we record those one at a time. We sit down, we say, what do we need in this story? Ray, can you make me this graphic, this graphic? Then we record that one video, edit it, publish it, and then we look at what the next one's going to be. And it's just so much easier than it was. But the only real major change is that the John Campea Show now is, instead of a live video show, it is now an audio-only podcast, but everything else about the channel has pretty much stayed the same.
And to be completely honest, when this first came up, I was completely against it. I never argued against it, but like in my head, I was like, why? But there's 2 things that I realized after doing this is, one, that our news stories are very up to date. Like there's no way, sometimes like the way we did it before, the worst thing that could happen is I get all this stuff done and then we just not even run the story because it's been debunked or it's been some update, and all the work that maybe I have done on it is not even used. We don't even do the story. So there's a lot of positives to what is going on now.
We just had lunch. The 3 of us went to lunch and we were talking about how much better it is for us
We've
now.
never had lunch for a long time together.
Because we just couldn't.
Yep.
Like, that's how insane things have been here. Like, I haven't eaten lunch in like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So it was nuts. But I mean, it got to the point that I was considering, the guys know this, but I got a job offer from, if I said the name, you would instantly know it. It is a famous sports thing. And if I said blah, blah, you would totally know who it is and what it is. I got offered a job to run a particular,
going after you, huh?
well, I mean, I got offered a job to do I won't say what specifically it was, but to do a certain sports show on that network. And the thing is, I was getting so stressed about doing the John Campea Show, the way we're doing it, and especially with YouTube deprioritizing live and deprioritizing long, I was getting so stressed. I actually considered it. And I'm glad I didn't. So here we are. All right. What's next?
We've got King Daddy Goat is back. Thoughts on Succession series finale Sunday.
Well, again, I'm a few episodes behind, so I'm not ready for the finale, but I got to get caught up because, I mean, I have loved this show. I've only seen the first 4 episodes of this season, so I got to get caught up, but it's kind of weird that this show's coming to an end. The show's been so successful and at the peak of its popularity right now, and I kind of admire them that they decided now's the time to pull the plug on it. All right, what's next?
I think it's Flink68. I think someone who hasn't seen the original Little Mermaid maybe won't be so put off by the new creature animation. Maybe.
No, listen, I think people who have not, the nice thing about having never seen the original is you don't go into the movie with any baggage. right? You go in, you get to watch the movie and evaluate it on its own merits without pre-existing expectations, without the baggage you're bringing in with you. So yeah, I'm excited for people who get to do that. All right, what's next?
Okay, we've got Joe Adonis T who writes, do you know the one to watch tomorrow, John? I don't know what that means.
Do you know the on to watch?
Or the one to watch tomorrow?
I'm sorry. I don't know what it is we're talking about. Sorry about that, Joe Adonis. I'm sorry about that, man.
All I know is the one to watch is Max's new slogan. One to watch. The one to watch. That's all.
Maybe that's what he's referring to. That's because tomorrow Max launches.
You know,
that's it.
First of all, I don't know why they're saying we're launching Max.
it's already there.
It's still there. You're just adding in some Discovery content.
You actually, if anything, it's not launched Max, but deleted HBO.
Yeah. Tomorrow we drop HBO from the name of our. It's still. I mean, the fundamental difference is now you're gonna be able to get a lot of the Discovery content on there. And listen, I'm not gonna lie. I like a lot of the Discovery content. I'm not ashamed to admit it. Or I can watch ESPN 1 minute and watch Discovery the next. Give me more of them Property Brothers.
They need to put all the HBO boxing fights back on Max. Have a section. Come on.
Nobody cares about boxing.
Yeah,
anymore.
but I do. But that's my request.
Hey, did you watch the big fight? What was it, last night or 2 nights ago?
Lomachenko?
Yeah. Did you see that fight?
That was a better fight than I thought it would.
He lost, right?
I felt for Loma, man. He was like torn to pieces out in the back. You see videos of him just bawling. That was his last chance to get his dream.
Yeah.
And you know what? He just came up short.
You know what? He made a lot of money.
He came up
made
short.
a lot of money.
Yeah.
All right. What's next?
Dwayne Cinema writes, do you think we'll get an announcement for the rest of F4 cast? To be honest, I'm getting tired of seeing posts on possible castings. It doesn't get a little old.
Sure, but that ain't Disney's problem. Yeah. Disney's not the one putting out fake rumors and fake reports and all. That's not Disney. Or maybe they are to keep everybody off balance.
Oh, yeah.
Dun, dun, dun.
Maybe.
I released a post credit of the non-movie.
I think, listen, I already believe it's already cast. John, so-and-so reported that Kevin Feige is still working on the casting. I don't give a shit. I believe it's already cast. I think probably Comic-Con time is when we're going to get an official announcement around, not necessarily at Comic-Con, but around Comic-Con time. I think we'll probably by the end of the summer. But I think by the end of August, we will have a full cast list. I don't know that. I'm just guessing, but we'll see. All right, what's next?
All right, Alan Ling is here and writes, hey, John, I don't know if I was around when you said, so I need to ask, why don't you like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Because it's a shitty show.
Yeah, where did we start?
It's a piece of garbage.
I like the show, but I do have my issues with it after season 5. It was a good show for me.
I love that it's a good show for you. I love that. I mean, look, just because, I mean, there's a lot of people out there who's like, if you don't like what I like, then you're stupid. No. I didn't like something. I hope you like it. And I love hearing from people that say they liked Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. That's great. I'm a big Clark Gregg fan. I love that guy. That guy came, there was this one time he came down to my studio, spent the whole evening at the studio, and then he and I spent the night after we did like an hour in my studio. We went into the AMC Burbank 16. It was the opening of one of the Marvel movies, and it was playing on like 12 screens in the AMC Burbank 16, and they were all starting like 15 minutes apart. And he and I would go into each theater and surprise the audience. I go into the audience, hey, everybody, I'm John Campea with AMC Theaters. You guys having a good time tonight? Woo! Hello, Burbank, right? All that kind of nonsense. And then, by the way.
And everyone laughed at you.
Yeah, really. By the way, there's somebody here who'd like to come in and say hi to you. Agent Coulson himself, Clark Gregg. And Clark Gregg would come in and everybody would lose their mind.
Spoilers, we're out of here.
I love that guy, right? And he's the only reason, him and Ming-Na Wen, are the only reasons I watched and kept trying to watch. And then I give up on it. And then I go back to it and try it again. I give up on it and try to go. They were the only two good things about that show. Clark Gregg and Ming-Na Wen are the only two things that made it barely watchable because they're so awesome. The show sucked balls. It was awful. The writing was absolutely atrociously terrible. But I mean, not Fast X terrible, but yeah. But hey, listen, if you liked the show,
if you like sucking balls, then just suck the balls, Alan. That's what John's saying. If you like to suck balls, then get all of them.
Then more power to you. No, look, just because I didn't like something doesn't mean it doesn't click for you. Just like I'm sure there's things you don't like that I watch and it totally clicks for me. So I mean, that's great. But why didn't I like it? Because there was nothing to like. I didn't like it because there was nothing to like. Anyway, that's just me. This is my thoughts. All right, what's next?
In other news, Why, Wired Ape writes, how can AMC popcorn meet the Campea market perfection? It starts with a straw.
Well, yes. First of all, give us thicker straws to add. But well, no, actually, start with. You don't even have to go so far as real butter. I mean, that would be great, but I know they'll never do that because it's too expensive. Yeah. But at least improve that slop you call butter flavor at AMC theaters.
What if? Okay, so check this out, John.
All right.
Check this idea out. They give a bag of the popcorn, right?
All right.
Whatever.
I'm with you.
There's like a little packet of butter that's in the middle.
Okay.
And by the way you smack it,
oh my,
open it up, but that whatever it's in dissolves, and it's all butter right in the middle, and just spilling all over your face.
Well, it's in the middle. Though. It wouldn't go.
I don't know, something like that. Something like that where the butter's not on it, but it's like something where that you activate.
Keep speaking.
So the butter comes in.
Keep speaking. Say more words.
That's it.
I love it.
Yeah. Someone create that. But
as long as it's better butter than what they do now.
Yeah, yeah. You're complaining that's the butter they use.
Yeah. That and they here's the thing. In their big popcorn makers, they overmake it. So the popcorn that's in there is sitting there longer. And there's a lot of times I get the popcorn, I'm like, this feels several hours old, right? And it's made worse by, I mean, it's still movie popcorn, so I'll still eat it. But, which is, that makes me the problem. But if they made smaller batches, so they had to keep making it more often, then the popcorn would be fresher and improve that glop you call your butter substitute, and then we get my market.
You've been actually doing the specialty ones lately, from what I know.
I have. You know what? Their popcorn is so bad that I have, when they have it, because they don't always have it, they now have their what they call their gourmet popcorns. And like the cheddar popcorn is actually pretty good.
And the kernels are huge. Those are like big pieces of popcorn.
You get really good sized popcorn. It's pre-made stuff, but they got caramel corn, the cheddar corn. I've been getting that stuff just because their regular movie popcorn is not up to snuff.
Yeah.
All right. What's next?
I miss Arclight's popcorn.
Me too. Very much.
Joe Adonis T writes, Ray's favorite non-actor, Ronald, is a Mint Mobile endorser now. Have you checked out Jury Duty yet, John?
I have no idea
is he
what
a
that
Mint? Did they get
Who
him?
is Ronald? What are you even talking about?
The guy who was on Jury Duty.
What is Jury Duty?
Star that, remember
that guy,
the fake?
So Jury Duty is like, it's a fake.
Oh, that Marsden was in, right?
Yeah.
He's such a good guy. I'm glad.
So he's a Mint Mobile spokesman now?
Whatever. If that's true, dude, this guy is so likable. He's like the perfect citizen.
Says he's an endorser.
Oh, that's so great.
I'll look it up all the time.
I love this guy.
Me and that guy are in the same business then. We're Mint Mobile endorsers. It's like we're brothers now. All right. What's next?
All right. We got Hamid here who writes, I feel like with Succession, ending a season or two early because I think there's more meat on the bone. But I understand wrapping it up around what happened in season 4 is the only way to end the show.
Yeah, I mean, from what the showrunner says, like, listen, they are more popular now than they've ever been. The ratings are great. They could go longer, but the showrunner just said, this is kind of where the story ends. And while I'm totally good, we'll then create more story. I'm totally good with that. I got to respect a guy that at the height of the popularity is saying, you know what, this is a good place to wrap it up. I admire that.
And didn't that lead actor like talk trash on another competing show?
Oh, Brian Cox?
Yeah, where he said, we don't want to be like them.
He talks shit on all types of shows.
Billions.
It's all types of shows. And he was talking shit on Johnny Depp. He was talking shit. I mean, Brian Cox is just, by the way, Brian Cox to me will always be Stryker from X-Men 2. That will always be what I think of Brian Cox in. But he's at the age now, and he's got enough awards and all that kind of stuff. He can say whatever he wants. He knows it doesn't matter.
And no one says anything back. That's
of course not. He's Brian Cox.
Yeah.
What are you going to say to Brian Cox and make him give a shit? You don't care. All right, what's next?
He cares so little, he'll probably go work on Billions.
That's right.
Here I found the shot.
There is that him?
Yeah.
So
he's
such a good dude.
Latest commercial, I guess.
Holy crap. Listen, Ryan is like 6'4". How tall is this dude?
Yeah, that dude was tall, man. He did everything right on that show. You can't help but
they look about the same height.
Towards the end of it, it's like he had so many ways where he could reveal like a evil part of him, but he was just so.
Oh! By the way, here I say, hey, Ryan, in case you're watching, we are down to the cases of aviation. We're down to our last couple bottles. Yeah. Ship out a few more cases, would you? Thank you very much.
Getting a little dry in here.
Getting a little dry in here, Ryan. What's going on? All right, what's next?
All right. I
Especially with the
think this
Lakers.
might be our last one here. Seconds from Disaster writes, haven't been able to catch a live stream since the change, but we just got the kids to bed and I'm fixing the washer. So what's up? I hope the change is going good and you guys are still enjoying yourselves.
You know what? We were just talking about this over lunch. I think we are enjoying ourselves more now than we have in a while. I mean, Ann and I went out to Universal last night, had dinner with our friend Sol. I haven't actually seen Sol in a couple of months because he's been traveling a lot to the East Coast for family stuff. And, you know, Ann just said to Sol, like Sol's asking, how's the changeover in the show going? And Ann is saying, I haven't seen him this happy in a long time. You know, he's not stressed anymore. He's not coming home completely wired up. He's not, you know, all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, that's exactly what I wanted to hear. Like, I can say I feel a certain way, but when my wife is saying that's what she's experiencing, then I was about to make a joke, but I won't. But when she says she's experiencing
Should I
that,
leave?
she can feel
Yeah, I told you there's an easy way. You could just point and then I can leave. You can make your stupid, idiotic joke that no one will probably laugh at, and then I'll walk back in. You know, you want that to happen? You're the boss. Go ahead.
Nobody's
Let me out.
triggered here at all.
nobody's wound up. No, in all seriousness, when my wife says, I can feel the difference just in the way the house feels
Jesus
now and everything
Christ.
too. Well, now you're the one making it weird. You're the one making it weird now.
Bro. There's
You're-
other ways to word that. Now it's become stupid, idiotic, moronic joke. I'm gonna keep adding to the details of this joke.
For those of you who may not know, Ray happens to be my wife's brother. For those of you who may not know what we're talking. Anyway,
Yes.
it means a lot. It means a lot, and it means that it was the right move, and it means that it's working. And again, our numbers on our podcast have been remarkable. The way you guys have jumped over and supported it has been insanely crazy. So it couldn't have been. It's going way better than I anticipated. Yeah, we're really grateful for all the support, guys. All right, with that down, and before we make Ray any more uncomfortable, that'll do it for today's episode of Open Mic. Thanks so much, guys, for being here and coming along with us. Big special thank you to all you guys who sent in those tip questions and the super chats. Number one, because you gave us great fun things to talk about. But number two, you supported this channel as you did it, and all of us involved with the show and the channel. Thank you guys so very much for your support. Don't forget to go onto your favorite podcasting app of choice and subscribe to the John Campea Show podcast. It comes out every single day. Today was me, Ray, Jonathan, and Chris Carr. We hope you go and listen to it. We also make it available on the YouTube channel. If you just want to listen to the YouTube video, it's there for you as well. So thank you to everybody for all that. Don't forget to come back and join us again for tomorrow's full day of programming here on the John Campea YouTube channel. Thanks a lot for being here, guys. My name's John Campea, and until next time, my friends, bye-bye.